All right, guys, UFC 229 fight breakdowns. Michelle Waterson versus Felice Herrig. This fight is coming up this Saturday, October 6th, and it will be on the pay-per-view card, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's get straight into it. Michelle Waterson is number 7 strawweight in the world. Her record is 15-6-0. Her UFC record, you all know I care about that UFC record. The UFC record is 3-2. She is the former Invicta Atomweight champion, but since moving up and going to the UFC, she has had quite a bit of success in strawweight, so you can't just write her off, but because she's had all the success at strawweight. So she's coming off of a win over Courtney Casey. She was on a bit of a losing streak. She had the 2-fight skid where she lost to Rose Namajunas, the champ. That matters. She lost to Rose Namajunas, and then she lost to Tecia Torres. That also matters. Anyway, she broke that losing streak against Courtney Casey. Let's get into Michelle Waterson's strengths, all right? So the first strength, you wouldn't think about it as a strength, but I'm just going to list it as her strength, as what I see as a strength for her in strawweight. She has a really strong ground game. Michelle Waterson is stronger than she looks. And she's slick with a good takedown. I mean, she really does have... I do think that her best chance of winning any fight is when she's on the inside, right? When she's deep on the inside, then she can... She has a chance of grappling. She has that strong grappling game. She has the head and arm throw. And since she's so small, it's kind of difficult to take her back. Now, I know Rose took her back from the head and arm throw. Michelle Waterson got the throw, and then Rose took the back from the head and arm throw, which is kind of typical with a lot of these throws. But I saw her throw PVZ, and once PVZ got to the ground, she had no chance of getting the back. And Michelle Waterson was able to kind of dominate on the ground, and she submitted her too. Michelle Waterson is, she's the karate hottie, but most of her finishes in the UFC, so she has 2 submission finishes in the UFC. And then she has that 1 decision with Courtney Casey. It just seems like at strawweight, at the heavier weight class, her ground game has been way more beneficial to her than the karate game. All right, her next strength, her foot movement. This is kind of like a staple. It's almost like every gym has their staple. ATT has that staple low leg kick. Who else? What else can we say? ATT has a staple low leg kick. Mark Henry, that camp, cardio for days. Cardio, gas tank for days. And then what I can say about Mike Winklejohn and that camp, Greg Jackson's camp over there, Greg Jackson really knows how to implement footwork into their fighters. Their fighters know how to move. Home be out there moving. Waterson is out there moving. Yana Kunitskaya moving. Who else is this guy? John Dodson moves, right? John Jones even. John Jones' footwork looks different because it's not evasive. He's charging at you. You know what I mean? He's in your face all the time, but still his foot movement is just beautiful. If you just sit and watch the feet only, it's beautiful. It'll be like a dance. It's literally like a dance with a lot of these Greg Jackson fighters. But so that I can say the lateral movement, the evasive foot movement, that should help Michelle Waterson. It is a strength. I don't think she should rely on it though. I really don't think that she should rely on it, because a fighter like Felice Herrig gets pumped up by chasing people down, like by going for you. And then you can kind of make it look like you're losing the fight because you're running away the whole time, because you're kind of dodging. But it is still a strength of hers. Her foot movement is beautiful. It really is. She just circle. All of that circling, it's just you got to put it together. But let's go into the next strength. Next strength. Michelle Waterson, no doubt, has the speed advantage over anybody who she fights. She actually has the speed advantage over them. It's just she hasn't been able to put it all together to where the speed and the inside game is working together, right? But whenever you see her throw a counter strike, she throws like 4 strikes before you can even know. She's like pop, 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 pop. She is incredibly fast with the striking. With the hands, I'll say with the hands. Her feet Her feet get up pretty fast, but it's the hands. She has incredibly fast hands. Almost Joanna Jędrzejczyk fast. Almost JJ fast, man. She has incredibly fast hands for the division. You know, I know she's a lighter fighter, but I think that she's definitely going to have the speed advantage over Felice Herrig without a doubt, without a doubt. So I'm just going to say those are her strengths right now. We're talking about ground game to where she can get out of a submission. She can defensively get out of a submission, but she can also submit you. She has the great foot movement. She knows how to circle the octagon. She knows how to stop, plant, circle again, stop, plant, throw a couple of strikes, circle, 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 stop, plant, dart in, forward, strike, circle. She's good with the foot movement. When she gets into her groove, when she gets her timing, it is beautiful. And it is an advantage for her. Now, the speed advantage, that's her biggest one right there. That is her biggest advantage right there. The speed advantage is it's above and beyond. It really is. She is faster than people that she's lost to. She's faster than Rose Namajunas. She's almost as fast as JJ. But the thing is, it can't be just speed alone, and I understand that, but we're just talking about strengths right now. Let's move into what I've noticed for Michelle Waterson's weaknesses and things that she may need to be working on, or hopefully we hope that she worked on during camp. One, Michelle Waterson, it may not look like it, but she has gas tank issues. She gets tired as hell in her fight. She gets so tired. I mean, when she gets back to the stool, she's like, She's always dog-ass tired. So I hope that she worked on that cardio. I'm not sure how you can work on cardio when you're as good of an athlete as you are. Michelle Waterson is a good athlete. It's almost like you want to say it's genetics, but we've been using that shit. We've been using that excuse a little bit too much for my liking. I think maybe also hitting the pavement might help. Hitting the pavement for 3 or 4 miles might not be too bad. Because she gets exhausted, tired. She was dog tired in the Tecia Torres fight. But Tecia was still ready to go. She was still ready to go. And I just kept thinking, I was like, man, this girl is tired as hell. In the Courtney Casey fight, she was also very tired. Now, she was able to grit it out. Obviously, her gas tank did not give up on her because she, at the end of that 3rd round, she was about to get armbarred. And she held her bicep tight and she held her hand. She had her grip on that wrist and she held it. So her gas tank didn't give up on her, but it's very obvious that she gets dog tired in her fights, and it doesn't help her either. It really doesn't. It's more of a hindrance when she has that monkey on her back. So that's one thing I can just say that I've noticed. In the Tecia Torres fight, dog tired. Courtney Casey fight, little bit better. In the Rose fight, she was dog tired. So that's just examples. You guys can go back and check out the footage and then let me know what you think in the comment section. But second weakness, it's going to sound crazy, but I know they call her the karate hottie, but that karate stance is a weakness in mixed martial arts. If you want to stand like that, if you want to stand incredibly parallel, if you want to stand parallel, you should be using it to dart in and out. But if you notice, Michelle Waterson doesn't actually use it to dart in and out. She just uses it to throw the oblique kick, to throw side kicks, and she uses side kicks like jabs. She uses a side kick like a jab. And in MMA, a jab is better than a side kick as a jab. A jab is the best thing that you can use as a jab. Don't use something else as a jab. That's like me trying to use a spoon as a knife. Sometimes I do that at work. I use a spoon as a knife to cut maybe bananas into my yogurt or something like that. And it's just horrible. It's a mess. It's a mess. When you want to throw a jab, throw a stick, a very swift, fast jab. And Michelle Waterson has the speed to do it. She knows how to stick that jab out there real quick and pull it back, and chamber it. So I do not understand the sidekick as a jab thing. It is detrimental to her game. At strawweight, that's what I'll say. At strawweight, it's detrimental to her game. When she was standing in that parallel, that side stance, that side karate stance, Rose just walked straight up to her, kicked her in the head, and she toppled to the ground because she didn't have a base under her. She was standing sideways, so she just fell back on her back. It was textbook. But one thing I can say, Michelle Waterson and that camp, they're not stupid. They are not stupid, and they are developing Michelle Waterson's game. They are. Because Michelle has lost, okay? She lost that Rose Namajunas fight by getting kicked. She got kicked in the head, and she basically toppled over like a damn domino. The next fight that she had was Tecia Torres, and she came out a little bit. She still was sideways, but it was a little bit more. There was a little bit more space. She had a little bit more base. When she came out in the Courtney Casey fight, she was in a boxing stance. She was in a straight up boxing stance. And that's when I realized, I said, okay, this fighter, Michelle Waterson and her camp and her husband and her team around her, they're developing her game. They're seeing the weaknesses. But the thing is, I have to continue saying that karate stance is a weakness because it's been such a weakness. It has been such a weakness. Did it help her? That side stance hasn't helped her in any of her wins, and it hasn't helped her in any of her losses either. All of her wins have been by submission or decision. So it's like, if you're not doing some highlight reel spinning shit, then the side stance is not worth it. She needs to give it up, and so does Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, it's going to be tough for Thompson because it's ingrained in him, apparently. But Michelle, I have seen her move away from that stance, and I'm happy about that. So I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I'm sure I've dwelled on it well enough, but it's a weakness. It is a weakness. Now, we will move on. We've got gas tank. We've got karate stance. I want to be able to have a third weakness for Michelle Waterson, but I don't want to get thirsty for it. Watching the footage, I didn't see anything that was just glaringly obvious. To me, the only thing that was glaringly obvious was that karate stance and her gas tank. Now, Michelle Waterson knows how to put a fight together. I'll tell you that. She's scrappy as hell. Now, if she wants to win this fight, Michelle Waterson, this is how she does it. She uses grappling. She also uses the inside game, and she uses her speed. Michelle Waterson, if she stands on the outside with Felice Herrig, I don't care how slow Felice Herrig's punches come, she's going to get clipped up on the end of those punches. She really is going to get clipped up on the end of those punches. So she needs to get in on the inside. On the inside of these long, rangy fighters, get in on the inside of them, because Michelle has great timing. Oh, she has great timing. If she can just get in there really quick, but that goes with the speed. She has timing, and it's just coming at you very, very fast. So I hope that she can do that. Get in on the inside and fight a dirty fight with Felice Herrig. Clinch her, right? Throw some elbows at her. Knee her. Everything that you can do. And soon as you get her worried about the striking, take her down. Now, be very afraid when you take Felice Herrig down, because Felice Herrig is no joke on the ground either. Felice Herrig is also no joke on the ground. So we're going to get into Felice Herrig. Felice Herrig is the number 9 strawweight in the world. She's 14-7-0. Her UFC record, 5-2. She has 2 submission wins. She was on a 4-fight win streak before she lost just recently to KK by split decision. So the judges, said that Felice Herrig lost by split decision to KK. But before that, she was on a 4-fight win streak. She really had put it together. She had put her game together, and she was just riding a nice win streak. I really like Felice Herrig. I'm just going to say that ahead of time, because just to get it out in the open, I don't want it to be too much bias. So let me know if I'm going one way or the other too hard. But I'll say this. Felice Herrig's strengths, it's just like Michelle Waterson. She's got great grappling skills. Great grappling skills. And not so much in terms of taking you down. I don't think that her wrestling is all that great. Like when it comes to a single leg, an ankle pick, a high crotch, I don't think that she has that necessarily. But once you get to the ground, she's rolling. She is rolling. And specifically her back take. Her back take it's quick. She can cling onto you from any angle. She's hanging onto you. And I think it's just mainly her strength. You know, if you watch her strength and conditioning stuff, it's ridiculous. She does she'll do I think 30 or 40 pull-ups, and you know, pull-ups are difficult. Shit, I'll just be honest with you. Pull-ups are hard as hell to do. I could probably do 6 pull-ups right now. But you know, we're not gonna, this is their fight breakdown. We're not gonna break down my pull-up game. But I think it's her strength that allows her to just hold in some of the strangest positions. It's like, once she gets your back, she's on it. She's clung to your back like a damn backpack. When she got that girl in that arm bar, I believe that was on the Tough. And I wish I could remember her opponent, but that was on Tough, on the Tough finale. She just spun that girl's body into a arm bar. She just spun her into an arm bar, and that's just because every muscle was working and moving to make sure that she can get that belly down. That's all she was going for, get my belly down. And she got her in that belly down arm bar. You know, Felice Herrig, for me, I think that her grappling is great. She's been out-grappled before. She has been out-grappled before, a little bit embarrassingly by PVZ, but you win some, you lose some, you just learn to fight another day, really. You live to fight, and people say you live to fight another day. No, you learn to fight another day. You learn to do it. You know, not everybody gets kicked and gets back up to do it again the next day. So you learn to fight another day. And here we see Felice Herrig fighting on the biggest card of the year, the biggest UFC card ever, maybe. So I'm really happy for both of these fighters, really happy. Second strength for Felice Herrig. Felice Herrig's got that stick to your bones, meat and potato striking. It's just a 1 and a 2. And then the foot movement works with it, but her 1 and her 2, it's just straight punches. You know, it really is just straight punches most of the time. She might throw a hook here and there. You won't see her throw an uppercut. You won't really see her throw too many elbows. It's just meat and potatoes, a 1 and a 2. Maybe a hook, you know, maybe a hook every once in a while, but she hits you with the jab. She pops you with the jab. She pops you with the jab. She really knows how to pump a jab. She has a great jab, actually. And I hope that she knows that. I hope that that's something that they're keeping in the game and they're not changing it up too much, or they're not going too far against the grain with her, with this fight camp, because it may not seem like glitz and glamour, but that is the strike that gets people, that keeps them guessing. You know, every time you try to do something, pump a jab in Michelle Waterson's face. Every time that she tries to do something, just hit her with the jab. Just hit her with the jab. We saw Gegard Mousasi do this. He won an entire fight against Rory McDonald by punching him in the face with the jab. He did it 10 times. And then once he had solidified that timing, and Rory knew it, he was like, this man's got the timing down perfect. At that point, it was just desperation. Once you get that fighter in desperation mode, you can do anything with them because you're thinking and they're panicking. If Felice Herrig can use the jab to keep Michelle Waterson on the end of her punches the whole time, never let her on the inside, Felice Herrig can win this fight in spectacular fashion. Actually, she would get a bonus. She would get a bonus because a jab will keep Michelle Waterson on the outside, and on the outs, you know, with a Michelle Waterson, all of these fighters that are a little bit smaller, they are susceptible to everything. They're susceptible to the knee. They're susceptible to the head kick, right? If they can't get in on the inside and dirty box, then what's going to happen? What did DC do? He went in on the inside. He dirty boxed Stipe. He clean knocked him out with a short shot on the inside. It was a short hook. So I just don't even put yourself in that type of danger, because Michelle Waterson is a tough opponent. I'm telling you, it may not look like it, but Michelle Waterson is tough as hell. Michelle Waterson can beat Felice Herrig. No doubt about it. And Felice Herrig can beat Michelle Waterson. So keep this girl on the outside. Jab, 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 jab. Jab her until you get her so worried about the jab that she dives in for a desperation takedown. Even if she comes in for a desperation takedown, just be ready for it. Near in the head. You know, near in the head. It all looks easy and it sounds easy in my head. I know it's not. So you can knee her in the head, or you can just stuff it. Just stuff the takedown. Go for a nice stuff the takedown, or just be ready for it and go down to the ground with her. Felice Herrig is no joke on the ground. You know, I would actually like to see Felice and Michelle Waterson on the ground to see who actually gets the edge there, because they're really good when it comes to already being on the ground, the grappling. They're pretty good at that. But Felice Herrig I think that she can out-grapple Michelle Waterson if it goes to the ground. But, you know, that's just one of her strengths. I'm not going to say that she actually needs to be going to the ground with Michelle Waterson. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into some of the weaknesses, right? Oh, you know, one last strength for Felice Herrig that I'm just going to mention, and I'm sure every fighter will say that this is a strength for them, but I noticed this. I noticed this whenever I watch Felice Herrig fight. It's her corner. Her corner gives really succinct advice. They give her tips, like, they're really good at watching a fight, downloading the information, and just churning out a solution to the problem. They really are. Now, does Felice Herrig always listen? No, she doesn't always listen to her corner, but she does a decent amount of time. I do think that her camp is the reason why she's been able to get 5 wins in the UFC. 5 wins is something to celebrate. You know, when you've only had 7 fights, 5 wins is something to celebrate. So, you know, I think that her camp is really strong. There are some camps they take away from their fighters a bit, and it's like you can just hear them not telling their fighters something because they don't. It's almost like they're like, oh, well, this fighter, they don't respond well to that. No, this camp, they give Felice Herrig the truth. They just tell her the truth, and she can either take it or leave it. Typically she takes it. You train your fighter to be smart, don't train your fighter to be stupid. Telling them riddles and shit in the damn, you've got 60 seconds, you're giving me a fucking riddle? You know, it's like all of that to me. You know, you've got 60 seconds and you're giving me a riddle? I need tips on how to win the fight. Felice Herrig's camp does that. They make sure to get the job done when it comes to handling business in them 60 seconds. They get a lot of information to her, and I think that that is a big strength for her, especially going against Michelle Waterson, who's going to have Mike Winkeljohn in her camp. Mike Winkeljohn going to be over there telling riddles. Anyways, let's get into Felice Herrig's weaknesses. You know, Felice Herrig has a few weaknesses. They're kind of glaring. It's on its face. We can always see it. I can't say that I dug too deep in the bag to pick these out. So right on its face, her confidence. Felice Herrig you can see when she's lost the fight in her head, her eyes, her face, her body, everything. It's almost like that Uriah Hall syndrome, where, you know, Felice can just sometimes look defeated, really look defeated. And I know that she has mentioned that she has struggled with that too, feeling like she's good enough. Because, you know, I'm sure Felice Herrig was like, I'm the best in the world. And then you come in and nobody's treating you like you're the best in the world. Right? Nobody's treating you like you even have a chance. You know, they threw so many small opponents at Felice Herrig, and I'm sure that messed with her a little bit, but I'm glad that they threw those opponents at Felice Herrig because it really did kind of strengthen her up a little bit. Her confidence, her emotions, and her confidence, and being able to keep her head in the game. In the KK fight, I didn't think that she gave up at all. I didn't think that she gave up or was mentally defeated. I think that she was still trying to scrap a little bit. She was just outmatched. She was literally just outmatched. In the PVZ fight, she gave up a little bit. You know, she just threw the towel in. You know, there's no way that a Felice Herrig loses to a PVZ. There's just no way. But it happened. It did happen. So, you know, I would say confidence first. You know, if she feels like she's better than a fighter, then she typically knows how to be confident. But if there's any question about where she stands against that opponent, there's a wavering look in her eye. And I just want her to continue to have that confidence because she is a really, really great fighter. Just underrated. That's it. She's just underrated. And then I'll say the second weakness is that she's slow. You know, she's just a little bit slow. Her punches are a lot slower than the division. Her punches and her kicks, they don't come quite as fast as the rest of the division. And the only reason why I'll say it's a weakness is because, particularly with Michelle Waterson, it's going to be a weakness because Michelle knows how to fall back and counter. And if your strikes are coming so slow, it's going to be very easy for her to just kind of rattle off a combination counter striking. So that's the only reason why I say that that's a weakness. It hasn't typically been a weakness for her, but it is a weakness. Typically, what I think she needs to do is chamber her punches faster. Don't leave your hands out there in space. Just pull the punch back. Pull it back to guard. Just pull it back to guard and don't sit and admire kind of what's happening. That's the only thing I can say about it, but she's very slow, and I can see that being a problem when it comes to Michelle Waterson because Michelle Waterson has fast hands. Her game is developing. Her game really is developing. And I think we're going to see, at some point, we're going to see these hands, and they're going to be lightning fast because I already see it now. It's just she doesn't stick around long enough to, to knock somebody out or to stun them or to strike them or just to continually, clip them up. She typically will take it to the ground. And I think that she takes it to the ground because she has gas tank issues. But hey, we're gonna see how this one pans out. It's a good fight, evenly matched up. These two fighters are very evenly matched up, 7-9. If Herrig is gonna win this fight, in my opinion, I think that it's gonna be because she keeps Michelle Waterson on the end of the jab, keep her on the end of her punches, keep her on the end of her kicks, keep her on the outside. Only go on the inside when. If Felice Herrig is ready to go to the ground, then go ahead, let her in. Just as a trick, let her in. Because you have to have a plan to take the back or get the arm or whatever it is. You have to have a serious plan because Michelle Waterson is nimble, man. She's incredibly nimble. So I think Felice Herrig can pull this one out, but if she does pull it out, this is how she gets it done. She keeps Michelle Waterson on the outside. Do not dirty box. Don't throw an elbow. Don't throw a knee. None of that. None of that. Just keep her on the outside and clip her up. Go back to your kickboxing days and clip her up on the outside. Once Michelle Waterson gets in on the inside, she has evened the playing field, and it's anybody's game at that point. Anyways, guys, this is my fight breakdown for Michelle Waterson versus Felice Herrig. It should be one hell of a scrap. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts in the comment section.